Hello and welcome back to Outside the Box, an MLS podcast. My name is Juanners.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Joss.
And we're back talking some MLS conference semifinals. We did have a first round recap episode recorded, but then the audio, my audio specifically, was not captured. So, if the fellas refer to the last podcast, totally fine. I deeply sorry for missing out on that one. This was the podcast where Joss had every correct take. He correctly predicted everything. So it was kind of a
like
bummer.
every other,
What'd you say?
like every other one I've done.
Right. About to go see your Atlanta pick there, but I'm pretty sure everyone had a bad Atlanta pick. Fellas, I'm going to start first with, I did have our bracket challenge recaps. I feel like we still need Daniel because Daniel missed last week's episode and he missed this week's too. So I feel like we need to save that bracket challenge recap for him, because he can't go without, us telling him about his Charlotte pick. It's like old news now, but man's picked Charlotte to win the whole thing.
And you know what? It was pretty stunning and brave picking. Speaking as someone whose eventual pick, whose title pick also got eliminated in the first round.
Yeah. Well, if there's ever a sword to fall on, it is on the Chicago Fire, not on Charlotte FC. I don't care how much of a homer my homie is. But fellas, let's talk about the conference semis, because overall I thought it was a good weekend of MLS footy. I think it kind of peaked with Vancouver and LAFC. But I want to start first with Philadelphia Union and New York City FC, because, guys, Bradley Carnell did a Bradley Carnell special, and he, that the energy style pressing soccer, it eventually just caught up to them. And Josh kind of pointed it out. It's like he kind of saw some of that St. Louis tendencies. You have such a strong season, and then in the playoffs, when you really need to score, when you really need to make the most of your chances, Philly just kind of laid an egg, and at home, no less. I'm going to go over to Josh, since he was kind of the the peak Bradley Carnell. Is hater the right word, or are you just like silently in the background praying on his downfall?
Yeah, I think that hater, I don't think that's the right word, because I don't hate Bradley Carnell. I just hate what he stands for.
And what is that? Tell us about it.
And what he stands for is cardiac Red Bull soccer in the year 2025. And that hasn't, and it's a bygone era. It's the game of a bygone era. A game of Red Bull cardiac soccer was great in 2015, 2016, and it's great over a regular season. But teams have you figured out. If you're a one-trick pony, no one's coming to the fair to watch the one-trick pony, okay? And when push comes to shove, and I can't think of a more apt time in soccer than MLS playoffs for pushing to come to shoving, then you're going to get figured out. And I having watched a Sporting KC dismantle a Bradley Carnell team, Peter Vermes, who himself plays soccer of a bygone era, when he went up against Bradley Carnell's St. Louis side, he actually tactically changed things, and we were not a high pressing, counter pressing, win the ball high, hard tackling, and score kind of team when we played against them. No, we actually were very much a sit back and counter team, and we made Bradley Carnell and St. Louis play possession ball. And when they were forced to do that, things didn't work. So looking at this game, enough about Sporting KC and Peter Vermes. Looking at this game, Philadelphia were forced to have the ball. Okay. And now they're a team full of talented individuals. I think of Jean-Jacques, and I think of Ty Baribo and Indiana Vasilev and all of these, and Damiani. Play the song, Damiani.
That's my cue. Shit.
Yeah.
Damiani, ani, 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 ani.
I think I just need a soundboard, really, Jeremy, honestly.
Yeah, that'll be added in the next episode.
Yeah, so looking at this game, NYCFC, and the guy who I chose for my coach of the year at the Gammies outcoached the actual coach of the year, Bradley Carnell. Now, in terms of superiority and like, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen those games in Football Manager where an individual will be like soccer supremacy, and then if one team beats another team, then that team takes over the whole region. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but do the rules apply when it comes to coach of the year? Because if so, Pascal Janssen is now the coach of the year. I'm just saying. In this game specifically, though, NYCFC, they came out and they out-Phillied Philadelphia, I think. I think that's my overall take, is that they came out and were more intense than Bradley Carnell was, which is kind of interesting because that's different than how Bradley Carnell teams of the past have been dismantled. Philadelphia were actually not Philadelphia enough, and it cost them to lose the game. Maxi Morales, the Philadelphia Union killer, I didn't know he had so many goals and assists against them in the playoffs. I think it was like his 6th goal contribution against them in the playoffs. Like, that's so crazy. He scores the only goal of the game in the first half, and then the rest of the game was just NYCFC daring Philadelphia to be brave and to take chances. And really, I can think of the Matt Freese save in about the 79th minute. That was like really the only chance of note for Philadelphia in that second half. The rest of the time, it was kind of like they look devoid of ideas. They look absolutely lost out there. And NYCFC have really just come. By the way, I'll talk about this more, but like NYCFC, who were not at their strongest, who definitely were missing a lot of key players. I think of Alonso Martinez, for example. I think of, who else was out?
Andres Pereira.
There were a couple more.
Keaton Parks and Andres Pereira still out too.
Yep.
They're starting essentially like they're starting Kevin O'Toole in the midfield in this game.
Yes, exactly. And Philadelphia were pretty strong. They had a pretty strong lineup out there. They were able to bring off guys like Michael Ura off the bench. I'm expecting. I think that squad wise for this game, Philadelphia were much better than NYCFC were, and yet NYCFC were more ambitious. They were more ferocious, and in the end, they walk out of Chester with a 1-0 and on to the Eastern Conference Final. David Lee, you've done it again.
David Lee. This is good. This is good.
Jeremy, what is your assessment?
I share a lot of Joss's viewpoints on this, and my bigger issue with Philadelphia is the fact that I'm a big stats guy. I like looking at the data. I like looking at the stats, and I noticed that throughout this year, can you guys tell me how much total XG, non-penalty XG, Bruno Damiani racked up throughout this season?
The whole year?
The whole year. I just take a guess.
14?
9.
14, 9. The answer per FOTMob is 11.4. He scored 8 goals.
Damn, we split the difference and we're there pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what I take from that. I take a team that can create but can't always finish. But the problem is, in this game, when you were playing arguably your biggest rival, which is NYCFC, that is Philadelphia's biggest rival. It isn't the Red Bulls. It isn't like DC or like even Cincinnati. Cincinnati kind of, like the Coventry of MLS, as in, oh, everyone's our rival, even though they do actually have a real rival in their division, which Coventry do not. Um, I would say that this is Philadelphia's biggest rival. This was their chance to erase the demons of 2021 when when a Philadelphia team that had been completely slammed by COVID lost at home to a relatively full strength NYCFC team. NYCFC came into this game without Alonso Martinez, but to the point where they have to start Morales and Nicolas Fernandez Mercal as essentially twin strikers in this game, based on like where their positioning was up the field. They're unable to take care of that. They're unable to take advantage of a very, very personnel weak NYCFC. And yeah, the high pressing stuff, it just doesn't really do that well in the playoffs. I think I'm not saying that to discount like just pressing soccer in the playoffs in general, but when you've been playing like that for an entire season, and keep in mind, Juanners, we picked Philadelphia towards the bottom of the league at the start of the season. I don't really have an issue with our predictions. Now, yes, they win the Shield. We look like idiots. But the reason, if I remember correctly, that we picked them so low was because where was the depth on this team? And it turns out the depth actually started to prove itself during this season. But when you're in a playoff game and the only attacker that you can really bring off the bench chasing a deficit like this is Ua, that's an issue. Because although Ua, he was there in 2022 when they made it to MLS Cup, but he completely lost his starting job this year to non-DPs. So I think that, I don't know, based on the stat sheet, this is not really a deserved result. But I'll tell you what, guys, this was a deserved result for the Philadelphia Union, because right now, Ernst Tanner is eating shit. And I think we can all be very happy about that.
Yes, tell us a bit more about that. I didn't quite catch it because, you know, before that news could really breathe, the 2026 schedule released. But
coincidence?
But yeah, tell us though.
Okay, so Ernst Tanner, he checked all the boxes for being a certified bad guy throughout his entire time with the Philadelphia Union. He, per a wonderful investigative report published by Pablo Maurer, known as MLSist, on the socials.
The best
currently,
handle,
I think he did this. I think this piece is from The Guardian, because he's freelancing right now, and he got The Guardian for this one. So congratulations to him for. I mean, not really like congratulations. No one wants to break this story, but if there was someone who dared to do it, congratulations to Pablo. Dear God, Ernst Tanner, real piece of shit, guys. From these comments detailing how he doesn't believe that like African players are like superior, or well, not like superior, but like, God, I should just pull it up. I'm trying to go based on memory for this one. This is bad.
I put you right on the spot too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. But like, I get it. It's very important to provide this context for this Philadelphia Union game, because although New York City FC has not been my friend in the past, I was kind of like, I don't mind if NYCFC wins this game, which is kind of nutty for me to be saying. But
that's just how bad the Red Bulls have gotten. Is that now we have horseshoed into the point where NYC are the true heroes of the dynamic there.
Horseshoe theory strikes.
Yeah. It was big. Okay, hold on. I'm still getting this article up. Because this is really, really, really something. And it's kind of like he can't keep getting away with this type thing. Like he should have been fired already.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason he wasn't. Here's the list of transgressions. He's made multiple misogynistic comments, including saying women don't belong in men's soccer about a female MLS referee. And he told a gathering of academy players that they should never worry about a referee unless she's a woman. Wow. That's only one of these.
That's-
Oh man.
that- Dude, wow.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're not done yet. Oh God. He spoke about black players like they were subhuman and suggested that black referees lack intelligence and capability. So if the first one doesn't get him fired, number 2 probably should.
Is there a
But
kicker? Is there a final?
No, there's a third, if that's what you're asking. There's a third, and this is one that would get anyone fired at any workplace that happened to be employed at. Touched a coworker inappropriately numerous times, an allegation for which he was reported to the union's HR department. How does he still have a job? Once again, how is he not like blacklisted from the league at this point? You've already got those 3.
Well, I mean,
And then how about
I think they said MLS is launching their own investigation, right? So I think
you're investigating? Get the investigators. Get Deloitte on the case. Here we go. And then the final one, at least in this bullet point, from once again Pablo Mar's excellent article for The Guardian, which it was The Guardian. I got that right. Congratulations to me. Not congratulations to Ernst Tanner, who hired an underqualified coach who was allegedly abusive towards players on the Philadelphia Union's second team. And I remember the bits of the story about the second team coach. I'm not. You know what? Screw it. I should probably try and find it really quickly because this one is batshit insane. They hire this guy in 2020 named Sven Gartung, who arrived here after a very brief stint at the Malaysian Super League. He had past academy experience in Germany. Then they dismiss him after 6 months. They don't say why they dismissed him after 6 months. Normally, if a coach is gone after 6 months, you're like, what happened here? Maybe, like, especially for an academy coach, like, can you lose the locker room as an academy coach? It turns out you can. Here's a quote from a former Philadelphia Union 2 player. Because he came with what we believed was like zero or no coaching experience. It was so strange. His ideas and knowledge of the game were really the worst I've ever seen at the professional level. And so he's bad at coaching, which, I mean, is that a barrier to you getting fired? It can be. There are people who aren't very good at coaching who are still coaches, most notably in the college football landscape and also the NFL. But I don't believe that any college football or NFL coach could keep their job after doing this. When a Union 2 player was ruled out for a concussion, Mr. Gartung says to that player, I'm going to cut your testicles off and hang them on the wall if he missed a game.
God, man.
Keep in mind. So that's just the briefness. I encourage all of you to go read the Pablo Mara article if you haven't already. But Ernst Tanner has now become, I'd say, the biggest front office villain in the entire league. And I would like to say that, for the record, he should not have a job in this league ever again. And now the Philadelphia Union, who won the Shield this year, get to the conference semifinals, don't win the cup, because once again, you can't win the cup if you win the Shield unless you have Gareth Bale. That's a rule. Now you have just what's going to end up being a very turbulent offseason in Philadelphia. And keep in mind, fans do not like their ownership. They do not like the Sugarman. That's his name, Jay Sugarman. He's the owner of the Philadelphia Union. They do not like the sugar. So I'm very interested to see where their offseason goes, because guess what? They have an early start on it, because the tried and true case of winning the Shield, meaning you're not winning MLS Cup, it happened again, guys. We can't be too shocked about it.
Now, while Philly will be hitting the showers, going through a bit of a rebuild, it seems like, not just from a squad perspective, but, from top down, it's likely going to be a new era in Philly. I think, we'd be remiss to not talk about the other side of this, NYC, I know you mentioned Kevin O'Toole in that midfield. I want to shout out Justin Hack, all right, who is,
I
didn't
see that coming.
in the midpoint of the season. I'm like, I kind of like this Justin Hack kid for some reason. He's kind of my favorite. He has become my favorite NYC player. And he is, he's got some free agency options, and also some teams in the championship are chasing him. But if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that this team would just be anchored by Justin Hack at a pseudo defensive midfielder and center back profile of player, I would have called you crazy. But here we are in the big 2025. Justin Hack is here. I think Raul Gustavo should get a little bit more mentions just for being just this very sneaky signing. I think it kind of flew under the radar, but he has just been like exactly what you need from a midseason signing to just immediately slot into that back line without any, because you get very much you get so many times where you get a new person in the back line, and it can disrupt that chemistry, and him slotting in, whether it's at left back or tucked in at center back. I think he's playing more of a left back in this one, but I've been really impressed with him, man. This NYC team, David Lee does it again.
My guy. Build him a stat. That's my guy.
We'll see if that translates to Kansas City. I know they could use a decent back line over there. But any other thoughts?
We need God.
Ernst Tanner, God, I still just can't believe that. I feel like that's the biggest story of this entire tie, just Philly, God.
Doop, doop, doop,
What a waste.
Doop, doop.
So here's a question before we move on. Philadelphia, obviously, Supporter Shield winners. It's been a successful season for them, especially given that just a year ago they had just fired Jim Curtin. If they sort out whatever needs to happen with Ernst Tanner, whatever happens with him, that should happen to him. Are we set to see, will Philadelphia be able to rebound from something like that? Do you think they're in a good enough position to do that? Or are we expecting another down year, maybe like last year for Philadelphia?
I think immediately no. But, long term, because, it all just depends on who they get to replace Tanner. And with that will come, because this is a team that doesn't spend either, right? They have to rely on the soccer IQ there to find these gems, right? Because around this time last year, Jovan Lukic, he was largely kind of an unknown. And then beyond that, we're seeing more of that academy structure pay off. Frankie Westfield, Kevin Sullivan was in this one.
Woo! Calvin Sullivan, ding, 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 ding. You get a free subscription to Apple TV Plus.
I just think like there's
Kevin Sullivan to score with DraftKings. You get a free subscription to Apple TV Plus.
And you get a free MLS jersey of your choice. Replica. That's an $80 value.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I think this is a move that will be felt next season. Not this upcoming one, but the season after.
Okay.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, and I'm not looking at the roster profile right now, but a lot of these players are under contract for next year. And there's also just like still a fair amount of talent on this team. They did get better as the season went on in terms of just like their depth. They didn't really have to deal with like a serious injury crisis this year outside of losing Glavinovic so early. And that was the big thing, Juanners, you and I were worried about what happens when injuries decimate the center back room, and there really was only one, and Makanya ended up becoming best 11 caliber. So I feel like next year is going to be a little bit of regression, similar to
St.
what's
Louis?
it called? Similar to year 2 of Bradley Carnell at St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're going to be like bad. I still think they're going to be like a good, solid team with a decent floor because they get to play a lot of bad Eastern Conference teams during the year. The problem is when you get to the playoffs, you don't play bad Eastern Conference teams and you lose. Woof.
Let's move on to a team we thought was going to be a bad Western Conference team. Ended up looking like the expansion team of dreams, San Diego. They beat Minnesota United. Another match where Amal Pellegrino starts ahead of Irving Lozano. I think there's some to this like back line because Manu Dua, Hawk Dua.
Yes.
He has just claimed that spot and never lost it. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we were all here thinking Patty McNair and McVeigh were to be the leaders of this line. But outside of Dua, you got Ian Pilcher as well, just putting in shifts at fullback. I mean, like this is a team that just takes hits to their depth and next guy up. Jeremy, what did you make of San Diego here? And are we finally happy to no longer see Minnesota ball that has just kind of the wheels have fell off since Tanielo O'Shea left?
I was kind of rooting for Minnesota in this game because I've developed a serious hatred for San Diego after playing them every weekend for a month straight. Which good playoff format, guys. But I really think this game isn't so much about the triumph of San Diego, winning a fucking home game, but it's more so Minnesota probably saying we should have deserved more from this, which is really funny because Minnesota outshoots San Diego in this game despite having 28% of the ball. San Diego only has one shot on target, which ended up being Anders Dreyer's winning goal, which very good goal. That's a quality playoff DP level, like match winning strike, like good for him and all that. But what I also like to talk about is how much the San Diego team pisses me off. Corey Baird has a very obvious dive in this game. It does not get properly punished because diving never gets punished in Major League Soccer. I saw one yellow card for simulation all season. Now, I didn't watch every game, but this happened in a Portland Timbers Querétaro Leagues Cup game, and it was Ian Smith, of all people, getting booked for simulation. So I believe that this league does have a serious problem when it comes to, simulation and fouls. like that of that type. Corey Baird, famously of the WhatsApp meme. Um, he's been a very good acquisition for San Diego. And it's really funny because Marcus Ingvartsen, who's dealt with injury all year and also has dealt with being bad at the same time, could be injury related, could not be. I can't make that determination right now. But it's really interesting because San Diego, if you think about it, they had four gigantic offseason signings, like four very big, like statement offseason signings. One of those started this game. That was Dreyer. We didn't think he was going to be this good. We thought the guy who was going to be this good was Lozano, who comes off the bench. Luca De La Torre, who, I mean, technically he's a big signing, but he isn't starting in this midfield anymore. He hasn't really been starting over over the final stretch of the year. I if I look back, his last start was September 20th in Atlanta, and ever since then he's just been coming off the bench to help them see out games. And then Ingvartsen also comes off the bench in this game too. So this is a triumph for identity, because that's what this game really was. It was two different ideologies going against each other. But like, this isn't the Cold War. It's not communism versus capitalism. It's terrorism in Minnesota's in Minnesota's camp. And I don't know what to describe San Diego as, because like I believe it's a good way to play the game. Obviously, like dominating the ball, creating space in behind, which is what they want to do. And the reason why they were nerfed in this game was because when you're going up against a low block, there is no space in behind to manipulate. So you aren't able to just immediately play a line breaking pass and then just flick it wide to Dreyer, that's something Corey Baird's really good at. Flick it wide to Dreyer and have him just run downhill for like with an entire half's worth of space in behind. You can't really do that in a game like this. But credit to San Diego, they were persistent. They did try their patterns, and at the end of the day, it just took a game-winning goal from the best player on this pitch to win the game, which Minnesota, they do not have. They do not have Tani Oluwaseyi. They are counting on their current top scorer, Anthony Marcanic, to get them that goal, probably from a set piece. Because if we look at Minnesota's stats throughout the season, they did score 61 goals, but Marcanic finished the regular season tied with Oluwaseyi with 10 goals. I don't think that's a pretty good way to consistently be able to attack, and I think they just did a good job of proving the haters wrong until they literally couldn't anymore. And it's ironic because the San Diego team is exactly what they wanted to face in these playoffs. In the reverse fixture of this game, which happened back in the summer, I think it was September or something like that.
September.
Minnesota wins this game 3-0 in the regular season. And they did that without Oluwaseyi. They did it because they basically just held San Diego at bay. They scored the first goal, and then they added two more quickly after. And also, Dane St. Clair had a really good game. You know who hasn't been having a lot of very good games lately? Dane St. Clair. And I am very willing to jump on this guy who got named goalkeeper of the year. Why? Now, I know I picked Carlos Coronel, but that's still better than this dickhead. If we're looking at Dane St. Clair since he won goalkeeper of the year, in the first game of the first round, he played Seattle. He wasn't goalkeeper of the year yet, so he was good. Kept a clean sheet against the Sounders. Then they go to Seattle for game 2. He's goalkeeper of the year at this point. He stinks. They concede 4 times. They concede 3 times in game 3. So that's 7 goals in 2 games as goalkeeper of the year. Make that 8 goals in 3 games. with this game. And, oh, well, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, he only conceded one goal. You know, it's San Diego. They score a lot of goals. It was the only shot on target he faced, guys. You know? So,
Well,
I
you
I
did say
could
it was
be
a
old.
wonder strike.
No, but due to the technique. Due to the technique to get the ball there. He was covering the near post. He should have done better. Like, it can be a very good goal, and also, like, you're the fucking goalkeeper of the year. You gotta do something there. You know? Like, once again. So, Minnesota, you did God's work. You eliminated the Seattle Sounders. I didn't really need you to do anything after this one because although I'm annoyed by San Diego, I don't think they're gonna win this entire thing. But at the same time, you know, this was your opportunity, Minnesota. This was the team that you wanted to face more than any of them. The one that you know you could beat playing your style of soccer. And you didn't. You allowed one shot on target, which is very, very good in a road playoff game, and you still lost. That's really funny.
Mr. Bathtub, what is your assessment of this matchup here?
Gosh. Well, I mean, what is there to say that Jeremy hasn't already put very eloquently? For tactical analysis, Jeremy Peterman is one of the best people to go to. For vibes-based analysis, I'd like to put myself in the ring, and that's what I'm going to do here. This is purely evil that San Diego were able to make it far. Okay. I, as a long-suffering Major League Soccer and Sporting Kansas City fan, I have been lucky and blessed to see my team actually have success in this league because I know that success is obviously not guaranteed. I am seething with rage that San Diego fans don't have to deal with the heartbreak of an MLS season in their first season. Okay. No way should an expansion team just come in and be able to be this good and have this much success. It's like they didn't even get hazed, and now they're hanging out with the CEO of the bank that is also frat brothers, is in the same fraternity as the other teams. You know, it's like they didn't even do any rite of passages. They didn't even have a heartbreaking playoff loss like St. Louis did when they were the number one seed. They didn't even have a 3 years of being bottom of the table like Cincinnati did when they first joined the league. They get to come in and they get to be privileged. And it is diabolical. Okay? So I, as a longstanding MLS fan, I'm trying to put an end to this. So I think for any future expansion teams that want to join the league, they have to promise to be really, really bad because it's making me specifically upset. And I won't stand for it anymore. So
I like that. I do. That's the other part because like you can't deny like this is just like a really well set up team, but it's also like the fans, you know. Like when Tyler Heaps is going on record saying that the Timbers just play unethical ball, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man, Jesus Christ, you need to be humbled a little bit,
yes,
just a little bit.
And it was so satisfying to see that happen to St. Louis. Okay, and I mean, I'm sure not even just for me, but for fans of teams all over the league. I remember, like, I was talking to some Atlanta fans that were like, I was glad to see St. Louis lose in that first round because their fans needed to be humbled. As a sport,
Atlanta
man,
fans
whatever,
that.
Atlanta. Fuck Atlanta, dude. They got
right, but but it was Atlanta of 2020s. Okay, it wasn't fun. Miguel Almiron, Josef Martinez. Ooh, look, they're combining Atlanta. No. It wasn't. It was Atlanta that was one season away from from sitting in the cuck chair and paying someone else's DP contract. Okay, I know that's not what happened, but for the storyline, it has. We have to allow it. So that's what I'm upset about. Okay, I think that all the teams that are currently in the conference finals deserve to be there based on their sporting merit, but if the teams were individuals and these individuals were to pass away and they got their souls measured at the gates of hell, could we really say that San Diego FC are going to make it in, or get the gates of heaven. I'm sorry, and they got their soul.
They were already even if they stunk this year. That's the other part about this. Even if they stunk this year, they wouldn't be getting into heaven.
Rip the loyal. Rest in peace.
Rip the loyal. You got replaced by a team with a tombstone badge, a fucking cop ass badge, a middling as hell color scheme, a social media team that will post every AI graphic. Like they strike me as an AI slop team more than anything. Like you go to ChatGPT and you say, what is the most optimal way to set up a soccer team? ChatGPT is probably going to come up with something like that. Only a true human sicko like Eric Ramsey could say, yeah, we just don't want the ball and we're just going to do everything without the ball. But a true AI slop team is going to be possession nonsense, possession pilled, possession maxing. Absolutely. There's got to be a word for that. I've been trying to think of like, it's going to sound bad, but like, hear me out. I've been trying to think of a proper slur to describe the way San Diego plays I'm kind of sick of like the neck bearded like wow reaction to it. Like, they play soccer, guys. They do. They just play possession soccer. They're possession pilled, possession maxing, or whatever the hell it is. But that kind of stuff, just the entire ethos of what San Diego FC represent, that's what makes me more mad than anything else. Like, they're fans, they're San Diego fans who have lost basically every single professional sports team that's ever come to their city, including the soccer team that had to die for San Diego FC to exist. So I'm okay if they get to be a little happy, because on the whole, their San Diego fans they're not just like soccer fans. They still have to drive like 2.5 hours to watch their football team play. So I have a little bit more sympathy for their fans, but I do not have sympathy for like I do not like the ethos of this team. I do not. I think it's wildly off, and it's very telling that in the year 2025, where there's AI slop that's prevalent, AI slop decided to join together and form an MLS team. I can't get over that.
Absolutely, I agree. And this is, you know, I have a video filmed about this, but like, not even what's their mascot name? Are they the Lobos? Is that what they've been calling? What are they?
I refer to them as Los Plasticos.
Okay.
Which once again, that's for the team. That's not really for the fans. But I believe they want to be the Azul y Chrome, which is really stupid.
Oh my god!
Did y'all happen to see that prior to Game 3 against Portland, which was a game that happened, they released a club anthem song, and it's total dog shit?
Oh my god! Juan, can you include the song here?
I listened to it once for research purposes.
I'll link it. I'll link it down below.
Okay.
Yeah. God, it's so bad. It's so bad. And they thought it was a good idea too, which is the funniest part about all this, which is how you know that ChatGPT is what's really making the decisions in Southern California.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
I'm going to have to push back a little bit, because there's one redeeming kernel here to San Diego, which has not been said yet. I really like the Right to Dream stuff. And the fact that they have a partnership with FC Nordsjælland, just a crazy Danish team. Again, if we're talking about ChatGPT script reading, and something about the Danish, man. The Danish are coming. They're gonna take over MLS eventually, right? But from FC Nordsjælland, like, you get Willy Kamado, you get Milan Alaski. Like, there's juice there. I really like that. But beyond that, I haven't seen anyone else kind of push in the right to dream stuff. So if there's
True.
one kernel of good, of ethos of this team, it's that. I do quite like Jay Heaps and Mikey Veras, man. He is I mean, we got to talk about it, right? Because Carnell goes down, Coach of the Year. Meanwhile, you have two other prospective Coaches of the Year who I would put ahead of Carnell, honestly, and Jesper Sorensen, another Danish guy, and Mikey Veras. Like, I would have been fine with either of those guys getting Coach of the Year, even if Veras, he's kind of milquetoast sometimes. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's
a Chat GPT creator guy.
Like, you look at Schmetzer, and Schmetzer has some sass to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a quirked up white boy, and Veras is kind of the same kind, but less so, like less potent. I don't know, but
most of Schmetzer's potency comes from coaching the hometown team that he played for.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really buy that, no matter how much you try to drown the loyal. Fellas, any other thoughts on this one before we move on to? I know Jeremy is ready to talk about this one, but any other thoughts on San Diego, Minnesota?
No, I want to leave with one final thing, Juan.
Leave us with one final thing.
My friend Kalen on Twitter, fellow SKC fan, but also he just has good tweets. At Cowlin Full, if you want to go follow him, COWLONFULL. He just tweeted, "Something bad has to happen to MLS 3.0 teams," and I want to sum up my point with that.
Okay,
yes,
a little ominous there, but not a threat. Not a threat. Allegedly,
no, not a threat. But my point exactly. You can't be a fan of a team that's good right off the bat. Something bad has to happen to you first.
Much like FC Cincinnati, who had 3 years of despair and had another despairing night here. They just got beaten straight up. Just how you get tactically master classed by Javier Mascherano, I will never know. But in comes Matteo Silvetti in for Luis Suarez. And with Silvetti, you get a guy who's going to be a nagging pest along that back line. And Cincy, man, like, it's got to be said. No, I think Obina Nwobodo may just be the best player in that team's history. On a team that has had quite a lot of great players, I feel like if you had, and a lot of bad players, to be fair, but I feel like if you had to rank one in terms of importance of who you would want in this match, it's Nwobodo, all right? And I like Samuel Giri, guys. He's a fun player, but he's no Obina Nwobodo. Jeremy, I'm going to go to you because I know there's a big MVP snub in here who you are very familiar with, who once again just ghosted. The lights are too bright for a one Mr. Evander. Jeremy, what did you make of Cincinnati in this matchup?
I would like to begin by talking about each of Evander's past 2 seasons. Last year, for the Portland Timbers, he played in 29 MLS games. He scored 15 goals and assisted 15. Those are raw numbers. Those are not like MLS secondary assist nonsense, which I would be more inclined to take seriously if they were all consistently counted as secondary assists. But they're not. That was 15 and 15 last year. Very good. This year, he hits 18 and 14 in 36 games. So he plays 7 more games than he did last year and ends up with 2 more goal contributions in a team with a player who was, for a very brief moment, the record signing in this league, who I believe is very good, who I really like. And for the second half of the season, one of his mates from Brazil who came back on loan. His name is Brenner. He didn't do anything in this game. No Cincinnati players did anything in this game unless it was bad things. I just remember multiple times while watching this, the camera would keep cutting to Roman Celentano, who really decided to say, "I'm a real boy" by growing out that beard. I don't really like that, but it's okay. We're gonna talk though about the way Evander-led teams finish the year, because Evander didn't really do much against the Columbus Crew. He didn't. He didn't register a goal involvement. That's not something you really want from your like marquee number 10, who is supposed to be the guy this team is built around. Because that's what Acosta was. He's the Acosta replacement. The way Noonan plays his system, it's always a lone number 10 underneath two strikers. You're going to need someone who can adequately be the number 10 there. And mind you, last year with Portland, in their lone playoff game, they lost 5-0 at home to the Vancouver Whitecaps. This loss to Miami is a 4-0 loss at home. It is not their only 4-0 loss of the playoffs. If you're looking at this, Cincinnati played 4 playoff games this year, 3 of them against Columbus. They finished with a goal differential of -6.
God.
Gonna let that sink in for a little bit, because this was really funny. This was a really enjoyable watch for me. Who is now a Miami? By the way, I'm now a Miami fan for the rest of the playoffs. Like, go ahead, boo me, but I have to be a Miami fan because it is the lessest of all 4 evils remaining, at least from my point of view. And especially because, and keep in mind that when my team can't win games, I root for the teams that provide the biggest humiliations for teams that I hate. Minnesota had the mandate of heaven.
Bible right there.
No, exactly. Minnesota had the mandate of heaven for like 2 weeks, and then they couldn't beat San Diego. Congratulations to them. They still gave it a hard fight though. But losing 4-0 at home, a home that's been repeatedly described as like an absolute fortress. Joss, who went there this past year, can you confirm whether or not TQL Stadium is of the fortress variety?
I mean, maybe in the regular, but not really. I mean, it's a great stadium for sure, but fortress? I mean, Zoran Basong got a goal there.
That's right. That is right. Zoran Basong scored at TQL Stadium this year.
And now he's mayor of New York City.
Congratulations.
Mayor-elect. I saw Jonathan Lewis score in TQL.
We'll see.
Wait, who?
Jonathan
Lewis.
Jonathan Lewis! Oh my God, Jonathan Lewis! Yeah, see, so TQL, once again, Cincinnati has had a problem.
Hold on.
Because this is the third.
Do you guys Do you guys know who scored the first ever goal at TQL?
No.
Oh, it's someone heinous.
It's someone heinous, and it's actually from this fixture.
What?
Yes.
Dude.
This is 2022.
I think.
Okay.
It has to be 2022.
TQL opened. Somebody from this fixture scored.
No, before 2020, because I went in 2021. I think
you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so
God. You guys ready
this
for
fixture? 2021. Can I have a guess first?
Yes, go ahead and guess.
Was this a home goal or an away goal?
You already know it's an away goal.
Okay. Oh my god. Come on. Rodolfo Pizarro.
No, that's a good shout though.
Oh,
Josh, you got one?
I'm thinking somebody. Okay. Gonzalo Higuain.
That's another good shout, but none of them pale. Both of them pale in comparison to a one Breck Shea.
Oh, no way.
So when you got Breck Shea cemented in as the first goal scorer at TQL, you're never gonna be a fortress. Like, it's just written in the contract.
That's quite a baptism.
My God.
What were you saying though, Jeremy? I'm sorry to interrupt.
So Cincinnati for the past 3 seasons, because 2 seasons ago they won the Shield. Congratulations to them. It's still the most important trophy in their minds. But they lost. They got eliminated from the playoffs that year by losing at home in Columbus in the Eastern Conference Final. Last year, they got eliminated at home by losing to NYCFC on penalties. And this year, they get their faces stomped by Inter Miami, who are suddenly a very good defensive team. Now, when you say that Cincinnati's starting lineup is going to feature Brenner, Evander, Kevin Danke, who were famously immortalized in a tifo prior to this game, that aged well. Good job, Bailey. Are you thinking that is a more potent attacking trio, just in terms of combined ability, than Matteo Silvetti, Tadeo Allende, and Lionel Messi? Because I could make the case that as a unit, Brenner, Denke, Evander, there's a lot of firepower in there. And even though Messi is still a demigod, which, by the way, he's played in how many? 4 playoff games this year? He has 6 goals and 4 assists in those playoff games. Jesus Christ.
He's nuts.
He's playing on
He's
semi-pro, bro.
It is. It's insane. He's just an animal this year. And that's why I can't hate him, because he's actually playing the games. And that's why he's carrying the hopes of one Jeremy Peterman for the rest of the season, just to make sure that true evil doesn't prevail. I believe that Cincinnati in this game, it was a microcosm of their entire season. Just completely disjointed trying to move the ball forward. Could not handle the high press. Both teams finished this game with 14 shots. Miami only had 1 more shot on target, but 2.93 XG to 0.98. That's what happens when your team has no idea what to do when they get the ball around the box. And it basically just becomes, okay, Evander, do something. They're poking him with the stick. Come on, do something. I'm used to that. I had 2 years of it. I was willing to be patient in year 1. Then the next year he became an MVP candidate. But when the lights shone the brightest, he loses the ball. He does not make a recovery run. Miami goes up 3-0. That's the Evander I know more than anything. He came to Cincinnati to win trophies. Not this year. He won 1 playoff series this year. Congratulations. It's so good. It's very, very good. Very, very satisfying game this was.
Joss, tell us about Miami. I know Jeremy's really high on them. Are you as well, or are you starting to be enamored by Messi League soccer?
Oh gosh, man, it's hard not to be, and I unfortunately I cannot root for Miami to win it all, and I get why Jeremy is, because it's either San Diego and everything that we just talked about, NYCFC backed by City Football Group, or a Cascadian rival to win MLS Cup. So at least he gets to he has a choice. For me though, or I guess he has no choice but to root for Miami. For me though, I do. And for me, Miami is still evil. Okay, MLS 3.0 in my head. But to be fair,
they are evil. I'm not saying they're not evil. I'm just saying They are the lessest evil in this remaining pool.
But to be fair to them, they were also very bad for a long time. And unlike San Diego fans have not had to go through that. So credit where it's due. They were very bad when they first joined the league. Nobody really cared. And it's kind of funny to see them go from that to like, I mean, at TQL, there were pink shirts everywhere in the crowd, right?
Fortress!
So-called Fortress when individuals come up from Dayton, Ohio to watch their favorite ever play. But yes, for Miami, I mean, they're just right. You know what I mean? Like it's messy. And I was looking at the lineups of the team, and I honestly, maybe I'm a bad MLS fan, but I don't know who Spalletti. I don't know who that is, and I'm not going to pretend like I did know who that was.
Who?
But Silvetti. Sorry, didn't get the name. Silvetti.
I was like Spalletti, bro.
Yeah, the Italian coach. No, Silvetti. I wasn't even going to pretend to know who that was. Okay, I had just come to terms with Allende. Okay, you can't expect me to learn a different Argentinian that they just spawned. All right.
Not only did he spawned literally when Messi was being discovered at Newell's. Like I think the big thing here is they're both the Rosario kids.
Okay.
And so him at 19, he's like, it's Messi pretty much playing with his regen at this point.
That's kind of nuts. That's a nice storyline. That's super cool. And I just think things are written in the stars for Miami to go all the way here. Personally, I mean, Messi's got another couple of years in him. I mean, he's going to be playing. They just basically what I've heard, and this is alleged, but David Beckham like he draws his own blood and he injects it into Messi, and that keeps Messi young and able to play for as long as he is. So we're basically going to see Messi for as long as David Beckham's heart is beating. We're watching Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba bid adieu to the game, right? And that's going to be emotional. So I think that the script writers have this where they're going to go out winning the biggest trophy of all, which is, of course, MLS Cup, brought to you by Audi. So it feels very written in the stars here. And I think that any loss from here on out for Miami will be kind of out of the blue. I think that they are by far the best team left. And as much as I've had qualms with Javier Mascherano as a coach, he deserves to be where he's at with this team. And they've definitely had their struggles. I think of the Leagues Cup final, for example, but I really think that as a whole, this Miami team are the team of destiny. And as much as I hate to say it, I think that they will win the whole thing. It's Messi, man. You know, it's Lionel Messi, dude.
Any further thoughts here on either of these two teams?
Let me hear your guys' takes, because there are some Cincy fans that think that he is not the right guy for the job. And there are some statistics to kind of back that up. I mean, I think they were 11th in terms of XG differential, and I think 22nd in terms of goals added as a team.
Well, here's
I mean,
go for it.
This is the weird thing that I find with the Noonan debate, because it's very clear this team is built around Evander Denke, and whatever they will do will provide the ceiling, which is what we saw this year. The more concerning thing was just really how mid they looked defensively this year. And a lot of that happened when a certain Nwobodo was gone. So I think that Noonan is still a very good coach, and you have to be a good coach in order to get this team from where they were to where they are now. And I think most importantly, it's just so weird because I think Albright's done an unbelievable job this year. They ended this season with the most TAM players out of anyone on their team. They loaded up on TAM players during the summer window. They were ready for a run like this, but it was those players at the top of the roster that couldn't get it done, and they just got knifed by a Miami team that's suddenly defending aggressively. And not just retreating into a mid block and trying to attack the space in behind when they win the ball back. I think that Noonan is still a good coach. I don't think he's like truly the problem. I think it's mostly like when you're playing a system like this, you need to be very good individually as well as collectively. And there were moments where their individual brilliance was hindering their collective ability to be good.
Yeah, what I wanted to follow up with there, and I think Jeremy hit it, right? He said, you got to be a good coach to take Cincy from where they were at, to where they're at now. And I think if you need a coach to instill a certain amount of dog into the team, I think Noonan is that, right? And I think a lot of that was highlighted in the rivalry between him and Nancy, where Nancy's just like this tactical, savant, right? And Noonan's like, fuck it, we are going to just beat dogs out there, right? And it made for some great Hell is Real derbies when both of them were, at their peak. It feels like both of them are starting to kind of fall a little bit out of that, right? It's no coincidence that yes, they had a bunch of TAM players, but you had to get rid of players like an Ian Murphy and Cheeto Awazium, right? In a double trade, they had to get rid of Barial, right? And so, for all the pieces that got stripped of this team, for them to still be strong in the East, I mean, like that goes to show just how good Noonan is, right? Have we reached their ceiling in the playoffs, though, right? And I look to coaches of the past. There was a time where Adrian Heath's Minnesota United had just reached their level, right? They had just reached their ceiling. I think of before that,
Oscar Pareja, maybe.
Pareja's definitely getting there as well. I mean, there's Ben Olsen at DC, right? Like, there's times where you look at the coach and the whole project, and you're like, yeah, I think we've seen enough, right? I'm not there with Noonan quite yet, and I think I wasn't a fan of the summer signings. I thought they just, Ayub Jabari, had to mention him.
that's my guy. That's my guy.
But
0 goals, 0 assists.
Like Ender Akanika ended up being like a really good piece. You know what I mean? And so like you also got like Dom Marshchuk on who didn't even play in this one, but I always kind of question that move too. But I guess it's all it is to say it's not perfect, right? But why let perfect be the enemy of good, right? And in the East, they were more than good. They hosted this match, right? They finished ahead of Miami. It's just it really came down to Evander. I mean, and missing Noboto, but I can't. I don't know if I can fault a one Pat Noonan who was also without Matt Miazga. I saw some chatter online of like, yeah, well, we're kind of missing attitude and we're missing like that bite, and I'm like, I think that was Matt Miazga, because you guys remember when Matt Miazga punked Diego Lainez? You can't tell me he couldn't have done the same to Messi. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, after conceding twice. Exactly.
That's my take on it, though. Do you guys have any other takes on this matchup before we get into what I thought was honestly kind of a playoff banger? But any thoughts on this one?
I have one last thought. Cincinnati's ceiling is now firmly capped with Evander on this team. They will not be able to win the big games.
maybe they'll win Open Cup final against Portland Timbers, and that'll be a full circle moment. Fellas, Josh mentioned earlier that he thinks Miami is the team of destiny. I think it's Vancouver Whitecaps. And man, this match, I think we were spoiled. This should have been the Sunday night match. Vancouver LAFC. This is the kind of stuff that just cements like the lore of this league. You got Thomas Mueller versus Heung-min Son. And Son definitely held up his side of the matchup here. He had 2 goals, a brilliant free kick that I was looking and I was like, oh no, it's over for Vancouver. But Vancouver, they get a red card to one Tristan Blackman. They're down to center back. Bilal Halbouni comes in. Bilal Halbouni tears his ACL right around the second half of extra time. For the last 15 minutes, Vancouver are down to 9 men. LAFC just attack and attack and attack. You got Buanga and Son just shooting. David Martinez, who I think David Martinez might have a little Evander in him because homie was just off. I don't know what it was. But through all that pressure, through a Takaoka deflection into the post that then finds Buanga, who hits the post, goes right back to him, and he hits the crossbar off 3 shots in a little segment there. The soccer gods just smiled happily on Vancouver. Sorry to say that to one Jeremy Peterman, but it felt like Vancouver were just not going to die, and they got the better of LAFC here, and it was honestly, when I look back at this team, it's going to be this match that I remember like very fondly. It was just a spectacle. There's a spectacle in watching Lionel Messi. I understand that, and there's something nice about that matchup in it of itself for what it means of Messi, like this run and what it means. But then there's the actual match of 2 just powerhouses going at it. Like this is MLS playoff soccer, you know. It was cinema, y'all. It was cinema. I'm gonna lead it off to Joss here because I know you said that Miami's a team of destiny, but how could you not watch this Vancouver match and not think that for them?
Because Tristan Blackman got sent off.
And is that it? Are we?
I mean,
do you want to know who's going to start at center back in the conference final? I can tell you right now. It's going to be Laborda and Ralph Priso. Ralph Priso has been playing center back for the entire past month of this. Vancouver's level hasn't slipped a bit. If that doesn't scream team of destiny, I don't know what the fuck does.
But it's been with Tristan Blackman back there.
He just returned for this game.
Oh, fair. Okay.
This was his first game back. And he immediately said, I liked not playing more than I liked playing. He's defender of the year.
Or
the only award winner who has done anything this postseason has been Dreyer.
I mean, Messi.
You're defender of the year. You get sent off in your first game back from injury. You're the goalkeeper of the year. You've turned into a pumpkin. It's really funny. It's really, really funny, guys.
That's true. That's a good point. I think what happened is Tristan Blackman actually had like a Lion King moment where in the stars it was Ralph Priso saying "Remember who you are," and then he got sent off. That's what I like to for this for whatever movie company Apple sends the MLS script out to make a documentary about. Please include that scene. Thank you very much. I think Vancouver, the thing is, Vancouver, all signs may point to them being a team of destiny, but how many times in the past have we seen a team go through an absolute, just a roller coaster of a game? And that's how this game was. It was a roller coaster. I mean, going 2-0 up and then getting pegged back with a Heung-min Son kind of just like bobbled goal and bobbled it into the goal. And then him scoring a 95th minute free kick, like, to then play a full 100, to then play a full 30 minutes of extra time and not concede. I mean, Denny Bwanga hit the bar twice in extra time, or he hit the post in the bar, and then to win on penalties against a World Cup winning keeper. Like, Vancouver that is their championship, I think. In a nutshell, this game, it took it out of them. And I'm afraid that what we're going to see is San Diego are going to come up to BC Place and they're going to knock them out. No, wait. Do they go to BC?
They host them.
They host them, yeah.
On that god-awful field.
That's right.
Yeah, this is the bad field derby.
This is.
As a matter of fact.
That's a good point. I think that, like, purely from a mental standpoint, Vancouver, they have to work really hard to kind of get back to the mindset, I think. And it'll be hard for them because of all of the emotions that surely went into this game. But let's not take anything away from the game because it was spectacular. It was one of the best MLS playoff games I've ever watched. And I've seen some heaters in my time. So props to both teams here. LAFC were my team who actually had winning the whole thing in my bracket challenge. So good on me. I'm out. I joined Jeremy and I joined Daniel. But at least I made it past the first round. So can't have it all. But this Vancouver team are good. And I don't want to take anything away from them. Sebastian Berhalter. I was talking with my buddy about this, actually. Another big MLS guy. And it's crazy that Berhalter went from almost quitting the sport, believing he was the worst guy on a really bad Austin team, to now being probably the best midfielder in the league. Isn't that nuts? Like, what a turnaround for this guy. And as a USMNT fan, I think that he's going to be in that World Cup squad. He's going to be.
Please.
I think he is. He is a guy that, like, at the very least, what he offers from set pieces is far above what we have currently in the setup. And I'm counting, like, Pulisic in that. I don't think Pulisic is very good at these set pieces.
No, Pulisic has never been good at the set pieces. It's
right.
really funny because everyone's like, why the hell is he taking another corner kick?
Yeah.
He's going to hit the first man again.
It's so he can go to that corner and do the YMCA Trump dance, dude, to the fans. Ooh, get him going. But
God,
yeah,
I hate Christian Pulisic.
I don't like Christian Pulisic that much, guys. We
are Sebastian Berhalter fans in this household, okay? And he deserves all of his flowers and all of his credit. But this Vancouver team, I liken it to NYCFC also. I know I was just talking about, like, missing Blackman's going to be a huge miss, but Jeremy, you've turned me around on that. You're right. Ralph Priso was stepping in and they didn't drop. So
it's what they've done all fucking year, Joss. It's what they've done all fucking year. The entire team has been injured at some point. I don't think there's been. I think the only key players who have been, like, healthy throughout most of this, and by healthy I mean, like, available too, is Berhalter and Kubas.
Kubas, bro. Kubas had a fucking game.
God.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I love how good Kubas was in this game, especially given how bad he was in the CONCACAF Champions League final. And for, as, like, an MLS, I'm trying to put the words together here, but it's so funny watching an MLS team go out and get a DPDM. Do you guys know what
you gotta get one.
Right. I think
better than a fucking center back, better than a fucking goalkeeper.
Yeah, right. St. Louis. What I'm thinking about here, though, is, like, I think it only specifically works. And hear me out. Here's my theory. Here's my take. I'm developing this as, like, live. But I think making a move like that really only works when people don't care about your team as much. Okay, and for a long time, the Whitecaps were not the team that people really cared about. Like, they didn't have a massive fan base, but I don't think like LAFC could go out and get a DPDM and people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's great." No matter how smart it is, no matter how moneyball it is, I don't think in Miami. I don't think a Miami could go out and do that. That's not Busquets, right? That's not a guy who's played with Messi, one of the best DMs of all time. Kubas was not that. Kubas was playing at Nimes in Ligue 1. Like, LAFC going out and making a DPDM signing like that, the fans might riot. You guys, like, that's my take. Vancouver is such a smart team.
Joss, their last like major DP import before Sohn, at least permanently, was a guy from League Saint. God, were they in? I don't think they were in Ligue 1 when Bouanga joined.
I think they were. But he wasn't. But he was a DM. He was at least a left wing, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I am a huge like number 6 truther. My favorite genre of player is ball-winning midfielder that covers every single blade of grass on the pitch. I've earned that after watching. This is really funny. After watching Diego Chara and Yusuf Malumbu during my childhood, and I believe that every team needs a player like that. And like we just talked about the importance of Nwobodo to Cincinnati. We just the Diego Chara is still the most important Portland Timber. He always will be. Kubas is probably the best player on the pitch in this game. So every team can they could easily put a DP spot on a defensive midfielder. The thing that's interesting and what makes it like maybe it isn't very Moneyball to do that is because you can find TAM level defensive midfielders, but that's still a fair amount of investment. You don't have to use a full DP slot to bring in a floor raiser like that. So I do agree. Every single MLS team should be thinking like we really need to invest in a good defensive midfielder because they're the ones that more than any position on the pitch, they set the floor. And a lot of floors are very similar in this league, parity and all that.
Yeah.
But in order to become a top team, you're going to want to have one of those guys, which is why I'm very interested to see if there's a potential cash offer this offseason for New England's Al Hassan Yusuf.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of guys that set the floor, LAFC lost theirs mid-season in Igor Jesus. They had to pivot towards this 3-4-3. At times it was a 3-5-2 with Juanners in midfield, who didn't see the field at all in this one. And man, freaking Dolo, man. I can't even say he needs to get sacked for that because he's gone. He's done. But man, LAFC, they came out and they played in this 3-4-3. They had Nathan Ordaz out there with Bouanga on the left, Ordaz on the right. I thought Ordaz was, he was active, but they did not get anything to Son or Bouanga, and they were trying to play the Minnesota style, right? They were trying to do quick attacking counter pressing style of play, and then Vancouver just was up for it as well. They were literally everywhere. LAFC turned and it felt like there was just a Vancouver player there, right? It wasn't until the second half, and I tweeted it out. It's like, you're LAFC, you're down 2-0. What do you do, right? And they go back to their 4-3-3. Hadn't seen it since that Igor Jesus injury, right? And so you get a guy in Andy Moran who just could not find an equalizer. Or just a goal at all. And like that was kind of like the thing. It's like we think of LAFC as this potent attacking team. They scored on that flub goal, and then they had to score on that free kick, right? So they're always, good to at least find a goal somewhere, right? But I saw it in the way that they struggled to even break down the Rapids a little bit in the decision day of like, yeah, LAFC are not this like potent team. They just know how to hit teams on that counter, and if you take that counter away from them, they have to rely on Frankie Amaya of all players to do shit for them, and it just, man, it was just good to see Vancouver slay like a dragon like this. That's really kind of what it felt, and then them winning on penalties kind of further cemented that. There was no Ilya here to make a good choice for LAFC, but fellas, any other LAFC thoughts or Lar? I mean, we could keep talking about Vancouver. I know I have more to say on them, but any other thoughts on LAFC?
Farewell, Steve Cherundolo. Aside from your miracle 2022 Shield Cup double, what did you even do, buddy?
Okay. Josh, any LAFC thoughts?
Oh, sorry. This conversation about floor raising sixes had me reminiscing on Ilya Sanchez. So I was
one of those. Yep.
I was breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just thinking about what a smart choice he's made. But for LAFC, I mean, like I said, I had them winning it all. I felt like I think as a whole, this playoffs has upset a lot of the preconceived notions I had about MLS playoffs before, and that like being the hottest team matters the most when it comes to this, or expansion teams don't know what they're getting into with MLS playoffs. Now we got San Diego upsetting that narrative, and LAFC, who I thought were the hottest team going into it, and I guess not, right? So, I think that Vancouver, as a non-Cascadia resident, I'm glad that they won, and I will be hoping that they win the whole thing because they need to do it for me and only me.
Another notion that this playoff is kind of proving is the lowest seeded team is New York City at 5. And they were in an Eastern Conference that was like super tight, right? So they could have easily been 4. But, last year, New York snuck into the playoffs and they had this magical run, like you were saying, it's getting right hot at the right time. And I think more and more now, like I know 2 home teams lost their match in Cincy and Philly. And coincidentally, they're number 1 and number 2 in the Shield race, right? But I mean, Miami 3rd, San Diego 4th, Vancouver 5th, and then New York City in 9th, right? Based on Shield standings. I think if this season, if this playoffs is anything, it has rewarded the good teams, right? And far too many times, sometimes it feels like and even for New York, right? Like, I know they're the lowest seed, but they are still a strong team. They were the ones that beat that Charlotte winning streak, right? And so it's just good to see good teams at this point, right? I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I'm just very glad that we're not seeing like a Salt Lake rise to glory here at the end stages, because that very much could have been the case. Any other thoughts, fellas, on this match?
I have to congratulate Vancouver just because you mentioned that this was their dragon. This was absolutely their dragon. Like the past 2 seasons, they've been eliminated from the playoffs by LAFC for various reasons. This was the one they had to win. At the start of extra time, it looked like they were almost certain to lose. Like 15 minutes into extra time, it looked like they were absolutely going to do it. But they didn't. because that's just what the Vancouver Whitecaps do now. They have God on their side.
Team of destiny, guys. Team of destiny. With that being said, I figured now would be a great time to talk about the semifinals. But before we do, I kind of there's 4 teams left, and there's 4 of us on the BSF podcast. I know we're without Daniel, but we're gonna do a little bit of a draft, fellas. We're drafting these teams, taking them all the way into the final here. It seems as though Jeremy's pick is clear in being Miami. Joss, do you want to fight for Miami here at all? Unless Jeremy doesn't want to pick Miami.
No, I want Miami. That's the only way I get to be happy.
Joss, are you gonna ruin Jeremy's happiness?
Like, is this like a white elephant thing where I get to like steal the gift one, or how do I ruin his happy? Like, I get the first pick.
Yes.
Hey,
You get the first pick.
Okay. Should I do it, Jeremy? Should I do it, or should I?
I mean, here, Joss, I don't have a dog in the fight right now, but you did pick one of these coaches who are still remaining for Coach of the Year. I feel like you need to double down on him.
Oh gosh, right. The one true Coach of the Year that still stands tallest.
That's right. The one that I kind of chuckled at when you said that he was your Coach of the Year.
Right.
I didn't know shit, clearly. I feel like you need to you've hitched your wagon to him already.
Like all sports fans should. I should double down even in the face of impossible odds. Yeah, okay, give me NYCFC. I'm convinced.
Does that mean Jeremy is Miami?
Yeah, let's go. Messi and stuff,
Because I'm taking Vancouver, and that leaves Daniel with San Diego. So
right now, I need somebody to do an impression of Daniel selling himself on the San Diego pick.
It's Anders Dyer, bro.
Yeah, it's Anders Dreyer, and Mikey Veras. They've done a really, really good job down there. It's year one. As the guy who's the fan of the most recent expansion franchise among this podcast, I feel like I have to go for the new guy. I like to see new teams doing well.
Charlotte play a 4-3-3, and so too does San Diego. So that's how you know that this was a match made in heaven. I think that's Does anyone else play 4-3-3? No.
No, not in. I mean, Miami maybe. They play they play vibe ball, but like tactical vibe ball. It's fun.
Yeah, and here's the part where I, as Daniel, will compare Jeppe Tverskov to one Gibril Diani. But beyond that, I if it wasn't clear enough, I'm taking Vancouver, not only just because they are the team of destiny, but they are the team I have picked in the MLS bracket challenge to win it all. Fellas, NYC, Inter Miami. I don't know if I'm not upset about this matchup. I thought maybe I would have wanted to see Philly kind of dismantle Miami here, but if I remember correctly, Miami beat Philly, right?
Fact checking.
I mean, that was one of the big things against Philly, right? Is that they couldn't do it against the top teams. I feel like I would remember. Let's see. I have it pulled up. Right
Philly, by the way, they did get spanked by Vancouver 7-0. That's one part of it.
Philly lost. 1-2 on the road, 2-1 on the road against Miami, and then 3-3 draw, in which I'm pretty sure they went up 3 and then, or no, Miami went up 3 and then did Philly save that at the last minute? Is that what it is? No, Telasco Segovia saved it. Yeah, oh yes, they were up.
Yeah.
They were up 3-1, and then Messi and Segovia scored within the last 10 minutes of the game. Messi in the 87th, Segovia in the 90th plus 5. I feel like that would have been, the matchup would have been a bit more fun, but I really do like NYCFC, and I'm just interested to see how they're going to deal with this Miami side, if they're going to play the same way they did against Philly. They are the road team at this point. What are you guys seeing in this match? I'll go first with the New York City fan here, Mr. David Lee appreciator, Joss.
Yeah, that's another thing. I didn't even mention the David Lee connection. Shit. It was so easy for Joss to be the NYCFC guy for the rest of the season.
Okay, guys, I get it. I'm supporting NYCFC. We don't have to call me the NYCFC guy. Don't call me NYCFC fan. Okay, I'm not. Okay, that's like being anti the Lorax. Okay, like don't do this to me.
But aren't you the big city guy? Like, don't you support a team that's city?
Anyway, I'm billing. My therapist bill will be sent to your address, Juan. So
but you support City, don't you? Sporting Kansas City.
He loves the light blue.
Don't. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this. Oh my God, Columbus Crew named their stadium Scott's Miracle Grove Field. Did you guys see that? Sorry, I got distracted.
No, San Diego didn't.
Nice, good one. Yeah, you can only have real grass. Okay, so NYCFC. Here's why NYCFC are going to pull off another playoff upset this year. Okay, because nobody thinks they will. All right, but if you're asking me to go coach for coach with Miami versus NYCFC, I'm taking Pascal Janssen. Okay, we saw what he did to this Philadelphia team. Okay, he was doing that with his guys that were not renowned starters throughout the year. Right? They were. O'Toole was getting minutes, man. Okay, and all I could think about whenever the commentator said O'Toole was that Family Guy meme, that Family Guy bit about Sneakers O'Toole. So that's showing how much we all know about O'Toole. NYCFC have shown throughout the playoffs that what they can do is frustrate teams. And we saw it in Philadelphia last night, or Sunday night. Okay. We saw it in Charlotte when they scored off of 3 of Charlotte's set pieces, lest we forget. Okay. I think that they've got boys in there that will frustrate this Miami team if they can get close enough to them. And I think they will. It sucks that they don't have Alonso Martinez. Okay. It sucks that they don't have Andres Pereira. But what they do have is heart. Okay. And what they do have is a level of swagger that I think is so important for these playoff teams to have. And what they do have is the clutch gene. Okay, I'm going back to the clutch gene argument. You have to be clutch to win MLS playoff games. Okay, NYCFC have that cooked into their DNA, having done it in 2021. Sorry, Jeremy, but to bring that up again. But Miami don't have that. Okay, oh, La Ligas, oh, Champions Leagues, oh, we have DePaul World Cups. Can you do it? Can you do it on a poorly scheduled night in Florida? I don't know. I don't think they can. NYCFC have been on the road. They've gone to the tough places. They just went to Subaru Park and walked out with a win. Okay, we were just talking about how TQL isn't a fortress. Subaru Park, a bit of a fortress. So for me, NYCFC already done the hard part. They've already beat the guys that know MLS, the Bradley Carnells. Okay, they've already beat the Philadelphia Union, an MLS Classic team. Miami aren't that. They're a rehash of a fusion team, okay? For that reason, and that reason alone, NYCFC will walk out of Miami and on to MLS Cup. Thank you. God bless David Lee.
Jeremy, what are you thinking here?
So I go back usually to how these two teams play each other during the regular season because, it's Eastern Conference. They get 2 cracks at each other throughout the year. The most recent game that these two played each other was September 24th when NYCFC hosted Inter Miami at one of the 2 baseball stadiums. Doesn't matter which one. It kind of does because Yankee Stadium is a bit smaller than Citi Field. This game took place at Citi Field. Miami spanked them 4-0. From Baltazar, Messi, and Suarez all combining to score 4 goals. Yeah, okay, that's the most recent one. These two teams also met for the season opener back in February. Miami hosted them. This game was very, very weird. Thomas Aviles scored 5 minutes in and then got sent off in the 23rd minute. And then Ilinic tied the game 3 minutes later. Martinez scores 10 minutes out of halftime to give NYCFC a 2-1 lead. And then Talasco Segovia in the 10th minute of second half stoppage time equalizes. I don't think there's anything to be learned from that game except what we already knew about Thomas Aviles. But let's go back to that 4-0, which is admittedly a game I don't really know that well. I don't really remember it too much. It didn't really register on my radar because I didn't think I'd see either of these two teams. Well, I didn't think I'd see this matchup in the Eastern Conference Final. But this game will be played in Miami, so they will have the home field advantage. I like Joss's point about the road dogs, but Miami have kind of been like dogging it on the road this year, haven't they? They've played 17 road games, 8 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses. But at home, they're incredible. 11-3-3 with a goal difference of 18, plus 18. They are a very, very, very good home team. They've scored 93 goals this year.
God.
Nuts. So, I feel like one team has the demigod being Lionel Messi, of course. And then the other team has Pascal Janssen. And they don't even have their talisman who's been hurt. And how much stock do I put in to an NYCFC playoff victory against the Philadelphia Union, a team that they just have their number, no matter which edition of the Philadelphia Union it is? I'm not putting a ton of stock into that. However, I am putting in a little bit more stock into Miami thumping Cincinnati. Because it would have been one thing if they had just, like beat them like 1-0 or 2-1 in a cagey game. But they didn't. They wiped the floor with them. This is the chance Miami has been waiting for. They have hosting priority for the remainder of the playoffs. If they win this game, they will host MLS Cup. I think they're going to do it. And
they're not going to do
I
it.
believe that Mascherano... Wait, what was that?
They are not going to do it.
That's the hater in you talking. As someone whose like entire like hateful personality has led to this exact moment of me rooting for Inter Miami to win MLS Cup, I can sit back and acknowledge that Javier Mascherano, who Juanners said would be out of a job by midseason because he wouldn't be able to handle the locker room, successfully benched Luis Suarez. He benched a healthy, available Luis Suarez which was the right move. But the question wasn't whether or not it was the right move, was whether or not he'd have the balls to do it. Mascherano has the balls to do it. Luis Suarez is not going to be starting this game. Therefore, Inter Miami are winning. Case in point.
Very, very good points, fellas. I want to pivot us over now to San Diego, Vancouver. Just a quick breakdown. I wish I had Daniel here to for him to really sell us on his team, this San Diego FC. But I think we touched on it earlier. That back line for Vancouver, you gotta wonder if there's gonna be a time when you just you bend and bend and eventually I wonder if that solidity is gonna snap. Right now I have a back line projected of Eddie Ocampo on the right, who has just been really, really good this season. Remember I talked shit about him when he was playing on the left, and then he played on the right, and I haven't said shit since. But Eddie Ocampo on the right, no Bilal Helbouni. You got Ralph Priso and Matthias Laborda, and then you got Tate Johnson on the left. Now this Tate Johnson on the left, man, it's you know who he's going to go up against? He's going up against Anders Dreyer,
the ice cream man.
And so there's a little bit of a mismatch there. I do rate Tate Johnson, but he didn't play at all in this match. I wonder if Jesper Sorensen goes elsewhere though, because Ali Ahmed, we didn't really talk about him in the match, but I could also see him playing as a left back, and I could see Vancouver overloading that left hand side, right, or their left hand side, San Diego's right. That's going to really open up a lot for a one target winger in Amal Pellegrino, who's still starting ahead of Lozano. It's like Lozano ruffled the boat, and it's been Amal ever since. I didn't think Pellegrino had the best of games in the last match, but he did. He does have some tidy movement there, and I think it's going to be San Diego's movement against Vancouver's ability to defend space. I want to see Kubas versus Tverskov. I want to see Berhalter versus Ani Velikari. Muller versus who's left? Anibal Godoy.
Godoy!
It's just such a great, like, this is such a great matchup. I have no idea. I think this is in essence a true 50-50, because both teams just have a clear kind of identity, a clear defensive path forward. They both are teams that have just had depth fill in, right behind the next absence, right? If it's not Patty McNair, it's Manu Hokdua. If it's not Ranko Veselinovic, it's Bilal Halbouni, right? And then before him, after him, it's Laborda, who has just been playing everywhere across that back line. Like I genuinely have not had this much kind of ambiguity in the West in quite some time, and so it should be a really good match. There's like a natural David versus Goliath in Miami and NYCFC, but this one is going to be the chess match of the year. You got on one side Mikey Veras, on the other Jesper Sorensen. Danish supremacy is on the line here because you got the Right the Dream connection in Nordjylland versus the former, the Brøndby manager, Jesper Sorensen. So, maybe I'll look into that fixture. We'll see who comes out the most winner there. But fellas, I'm going to throw it to you. If you had to pick between San Diego, Vancouver, I don't think there's a wrong answer, but who would you lean towards in this one? I'll start with Joss.
Purely on the basis that I can't let San Diego fans be happy anymore. I'm leaning toward Vancouver. I'd like to see Vancouver win out. Let me rephrase. I want Vancouver to win. I think it'll be San Diego. Because like I said, I think Vancouver are just going to be wiped from the 120 minutes they went against LAFC with, and that's a very emotional game. And I think San Diego will win. I think it'll be boring. I think it'll be like a 1-0 or something like that.
Jeremy?
I defer to the playoff schedule for this one. San Diego had to play on Monday night, and they don't have to travel. So I think that kind of evens up the rest. The rest theory that I usually have. Usually it's tougher for teams to play on a shorter turnaround if they have to travel. It isn't like that far of a trip either way. It's just a flight, and you don't have like a time zone jump or anything. But I don't want to pick who I think is going to win here because I want both of them to lose. That's just
who gets to lose to Miami then?
Who gets to lose to Miami? Probably Vancouver. But the reason I'm saying Vancouver is because, like, I am very much what did these two teams do when they played in the regular season? And none of their regular season meetings hold any weight to me. It's really funny because the first one that these two played against each other was
the
June 25th.
Game.
The Milan-Olowski quad, where he scored 35th, 37th, 44th, 47th.
Oh, baby, a triple.
Really, yeah, that's really funny. He just did that in a game. Do you want to know who, Vancouver's lineup looks somewhat recognizable from that game. I mean, Veselinovic and Blackman both won't be playing in this. Ralph Priso will be, but probably as a center back. Bodwall will probably get some minutes, and this Pedro Vite is on the team anymore. But that Vancouver lineup is still pretty respectable. Here's where San Diego's is pretty funny. CJ Dos Santos will not be playing in this game. He still has the fractured cheekbone. Oscar Verhoeven is out. But 3 of Vancouver's defenders will be playing in this game. Bombino, Pilcher, and McVeigh. Even though Pilcher won't be playing center back, he'll be at right back. Tverskov and Valakari will both be starting. But Alejandro Alvarado, who played 70 minutes of this game, will not be. Keep in mind, you want to hear some names on San Diego's bench for this game. Jesper Loffelsend and Heine Gickling Bruseth were 2 players that San Diego had available off the bench in this game, including a guy who did see the field in Emmanuel Boateng, who's not there anymore. Their starting front 3 in this game was Alex Mighton, Olowski, and Dreyer. Dreyer's still here. The other 2 aren't. Mighton's still there too, but like he's not that guy. So now that means we have to go to the July 19th game, which is the actual like fixture here. It was San Diego hosting Vancouver. Manu Dua scores an own goal in the 40th minute. Ian Pilcher equalizes. This game does not look very special, but Vancouver was dominated in terms of possession and on shots. I feel like this game's going to play out in a similar vein, but it's all going to be about the space. Whether or not San Diego can create the space that Vancouver absolutely will not give them. Because the hallmark of Sorensen's time this year has, in addition to every single player being able to do a job, is every single player being able to cover an insane amount of space. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to cover the space that they aren't aware needs to be covered. I'm also pretty sure this was the game This was the game where Veselinovic tore his ACL. So
Revenge.
Man.
Revenge.
Man. This is a tough game to look at. This really is, because I won't know until I see the starting lineups. But as of right now, I'm gonna say, you know what? San Diego.
Okay.
San Diego. Because they can bring Lozano off the bench. They can bring De La Torre off the bench. And, but Vancouver could counter because they could bring Ryan Gauld off the bench. But Ryan Gauld really hasn't looked that good since coming back from injury. Whereas Lozano is still a
I don't
proven
know
guy.
about that, dude. I know he hasn't, but I mean, here's the thing I saw from Ryan Gauld. I saw homie freaking playing defense out of his mind as a winger.
That's what he does. That's what he's always done. He's the working class MVP. That's like his whole shtick.
And it works so well with Vancouver. I'm like, how is it that he's like, I feel like he is a little bit of a cheat code off the bench as well. More so than Lozano is, but I digress.
I see your point there, but I'm going to argue that Vancouver's real X Factor sub in this game is Jaden Nelson. Because he's going to step on the field and immediately become the fastest player on the pitch. And San Diego struggled with defending transition all year. So this could be a big Jaden Nelson game. But also, I believe that Vancouver, this has to be the game where the back line just fails. It has to be. And if it isn't the back line, it's Takaoka.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see. We shall see. Any other thoughts, final thoughts on the conference semifinals? Or are we ready to wrap this one up, fellas?
I'm good.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Jeremy, where can they find you?
You can find me on the Elon app at Sports Guy Jeremy. You can find me on Bluesky, jerrypeterman.bsky.social. You could read my work on my wonderful website, cascadefc.com.
Mr. Bathtub, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Champagne Poppy. On Twitter, I am at Patrick Mahomes. And on Blue Sky, I am at Jeremy Peterman at .bluesky.app too.
Doesn't Champagne Poppy run a KC fan page?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's right. I forgot. And then our KC fan page, if you're interested in any KC content, our on Instagram is at Jorge Villafania, and then our Twitter is at Jonathan Lewis Fan 1, because Jonathan Lewis Fan was taken.
I love these deep cuts, man.
Yeah.
You can find me at Juanners715 on Twitter, juanners.bsky.social. Follow Box State Footy by going to boxstatefooty.com. Brand new website. We have officially migrated from Substack over to Ghost, and it's got a little panels situation going on. Still adding to the website, but everything's pretty much moved over there. Your one stop for all of Box State Footy is boxstatefooty.com. That's going to be it from us here at Outside the Box. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye.